So I've been sending you stuff because, like, I knew that you were coming on, and I sent you that one, that video of the guy who got a trail cam photo of a black panther.
Yep.
So is that just a melanistic mountain lion? Like,
So
what is that?
It's a great question. There's never been a melanistic mountain lion. Nobody's ever seen one, ever. That photo that you sent me, that photo circulates like once every 3 years.
It's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
What happens when you put two self-proclaimed alpha males into a multi-million-dollar soundproof Texas bunker with open microphones and zero editorial oversight? What you get is what feels like 3 long hours of ultra-wealthy guys scrolling through viral Twitter clips, inventing back-alley evolutionary genetics and explaining to the working class how they can cure their clinical depression by just taking a walk in the woods. Now, if you've watched this channel for a while, you already know Joe's specific brand of pseudo-intellectual bro science. But when you pair him with Forrest Galante, a guy whose entire public persona runs on Steve Irwin energy, even though a good chunk of his own show catalogue plays more like scripted reality TV than field biology, the smugness in the room reaches truly toxic levels. Neither of these guys is coming out of this video looking good. And this entire episode is Exhibit A. Look at how this episode kicks off. Within the first 5 minutes of sitting down, Joe completely derails any potential biological discussion just to force Forrest to watch RNC Run Nation, a viral internet trend where rugby players sprint headfirst into each other at maximum velocity. Look at Joe's face on the monitor. He is in absolute, unadulterated awe. Catalogue plays more like scripted reality TV. He's watching 2 men give each other immediate traumatic brain injuries, and he treats it like he's observing high art in the Louvre. And pay close attention to Forrest's reaction here. Forrest immediately tries to posture as the resident intellectual in the room. He leans back, nods condescendingly, and says, "I know too much about brain damage." You'd think he was a board-certified practicing neurosurgeon instead of a television host who happened to play high school rugby decades ago. Between the two of them, you're watching 2 totally different species of arrogance side by side. Joe's childlike, primal fascination with raw physical violence, and Forrest's desperate need to sound like the smartest, most refined expert in every room he enters. "They both just went unconscious," Joe said with pure, unfiltered delight. He then immediately suggests bringing these guys over to the United States to see how they stack up against NFL linebackers. Mild concussions, apparently, were just the pitch. Spotify's hundreds of millions of dollars into a national brain-scrambling tournament live on air.
Have you seen that game? Well, it's not a game, but it's, I guess, whatever it is, an activity where these guys just run at each other full blast?
Dude, RNC Run Nation. I love that. It's
You
one of my
do?
favorite things. I'm such a huge
How
fan.
could you love that?
I love it, dude,
Oh
because
my
I played
God.
rugby. So it's rugby boys that are doing it, right? It's like an Oklahoma drill, except for rugby guys. And that's a drill that when I was playing rugby, we used to do all the time.
Just run at each other?
You just run it. It's my favorite. Run Nation, RNC, it's my favorite thing. I watch every video. Look at these guys.
I would have never they both just went unconscious. Look at that. They both went, well, that guy's fine.
I'm such
But
a
I've
fan.
seen it where they both get unconscious.
I want to
Like
bring
right
these
there.
guys to the U.S. and see how they stack up against like NFL
Oh,
linebackers.
Jesus Christ. They both headbutted each other, dude.
Dude, you love fight sports. What are you talking
This
about?
is not a fight sport. This is just,
I'm such a fan.
oh, that's so silly.
But before they even got around to worshipping Concussions compilations, the episode opened with Joe pulling out his phone to show Forrest a rare trail cam photo of a melanistic Black Panther in North America. Give Joe a low-resolution JPEG from an unverified X account and 30 seconds, and he'll treat it like top-secret classified government intelligence. This forces Forrest into playing the smug party pooper. Forrest has to patiently explain to Joe that in all of recorded biological history, melanistic mountain lions do not exist. That viral video Joe sent him, it's an old, recycled trail cam clip of a melanistic jaguar in South America that gets reposted on boomer Facebook groups every 3 to 4 months with titles like "Shocking Wildlife Found in Ohio." Pause for a second and think about the sheer reality of this moment. Joe Rogan runs the most influential audio platform on planet Earth, equipped with full-time producers, young Jamie in the booth, and virtually unlimited financial resources. Yet, he walks into work and presents the kind of viral hoax that's been bouncing around on Facebook for years, like it's a breaking zoological discovery. And when he gets caught, he immediately pivots from asking, "Is this real?" to asserting, "Well, it would be really cool if it was real." You could print that sentence on the studio wall and nobody would blink. It doesn't matter if it's fake, as long as it sounds hardcore to a room full of dudes drinking whiskey at 11 a.m. Right after getting debunked on fake big cat photos, the conversation takes a deeply ironic pivot. Both host and guest shift seamlessly into their absolute favourite pastime, lecturing the younger generation about how social media is destroying human civilization, ruining culture, and liquefying everyone else's brain chemistry. Without a single shred of self-awareness, Joe launches into a heavy-handed sermon about how short-form video apps like TikTok and Instagram Reels have destroyed modern human attention spans. He laments that people can no longer sit down and process long-form information because they are completely addicted to 5-second dopamine hits. He speaks with the somber weight of an ancient philosopher mourning the collapse of Rome.
We are locked in on whatever is happening all over the world all at once. And that's one of the weird things about social media now, is that we're constantly being inundated with new things to occupy our attention.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And we have no attention span to watch anything for more than 5 seconds.
But yet, at the same time, this is the rise of podcasts.
Yeah. Which are long form.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's clear that that's not really the case with everybody. There's enough people that are interested in actual fascinating things and have an attention span. It's just like we're all susceptible to the brain rot that comes with just scrolling.
Keep in mind, this profound lecture on the dangers of short attention spans comes precisely 7 minutes after Joe made his guest sit in silence to watch random Twitter accounts post 5-second clips of Rugby Collision. Joe sits on top of a multi-million-dollar media empire, runs one of the world's highest-paid short-form reaction channels, and still finds time to judge his audience for the exact behaviour the show is built around. And here comes the ultimate elite podcast coping mechanism. After explaining why social media makes everyone else stupid and passive, Joe takes a pause to clarify that his algorithm is somehow different. His algorithm is dialed in. His feed only brings him really fascinating high-level things. Right, high-level things like ocean sunfish being slapped by killer whales and viral videos of CTE. Everyone else is apparently a mindless scroll addict. Joe just prefers to call himself an intellectual consumer, curating fine art.
But I think I've gotten a pretty good algorithm lately. So lately, for whatever reason, my algorithm has been really excellent. It's really dialed in where I'm only getting like really fascinating things over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been great.
That's way better.
And then every now and then some comes on and I just skip through it real quick and I'm like, gotta keep this algorithm going good.
Now here's a fun one. Rogan spent about 25 years in Los Angeles building the exact bleeding heart liberal turned free thinker persona that made him famous. Then, in 2020, he packed up and moved to Austin. And, in his own words, wanting effing freedom. Fine. People change their minds. What's actually funny is what happened next. The state he called home for a quarter of a century became, in his own words, full communist. Once he wasn't the one paying its taxes anymore, and somewhere in that same stretch, he started reaching for lines like, "woke meets the wall," which is a pretty confident thing to say to a guy who's spent 2.5 decades comfortably inside the exact bubble he now mocks for a living. Honestly, at some point, "I contain multitudes" just becomes, "I say whatever gets the loudest reaction in the room," which, incidentally, is the same guy who spent this entire episode lecturing Forrest about algorithms and attention spans. Next, we get into Joe's absolute favourite playground, amateur, unvetted, evolutionary biology. Whenever Joe sees an extraordinary large human athlete, his brain skips straight past modern sports science, nutrition, and genetics and lands on a pre-programmed script about ancient tribal survival, primitive battles, and brutal natural selection. Listen to how Joe describes these rugby players. Wide as a barn, a brick solid rock. Admiring the physique is apparently just step one. Joe wants the full historical origin story too. And what he comes up with belongs in a Hollywood fantasy film. According to Joe's improvised biological theory, you can skip the boring modern explanations. Hypercalorie diets, strength conditioning, sports medicine, professional coaching. The real answer, apparently, is that hundreds of years ago, only the most robust men had the courage to jump into tiny wooden boats, while harsh ocean waves magically weeded out anyone who wasn't built like a brick wall.
They play rugby league and stuff. They're built different, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're so hard. It's insane.
Do you remember David Tua?
No, I'm not.
David
familiar
Tua
with
was a heavyweight boxer back in the day who was like one of the most ferocious guys that ever fought in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And it just built like your prototypical island warrior guy.
Yeah,
That's David Tua.
Yeah, I mean,
just a tank.
You don't want to run it at that guy. I'm telling you what.
Yeah. I mean, just a monster. Just would knock people out. He knocked out John Ruiz like famously in the first round in like something like 30 seconds or something like that. It was crazy.
Different breed, man.
Crazy left hook. Yeah, that kind of guy. I mean, we've had a bunch of Mark Hunt, who's a famous kickboxer. There's another guy built like that.
Yeah.
Just wide as a barn.
There's like no waist. It's just like a brick.
Solid as a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, playing rugby, I played rugby against guys like that, and it was the worst.
Well, those are the dudes that have the balls to get in a little tiny boat and make it across the ocean.
And then kick your ass.
That's what it is, really. I mean, you think about it, like only the super robust survived.
Right.
So it's like nature just weeding out any possible weakness. Only the strongest human beings made it.
Absolute natural selection.
This is classic Rogan bro science. Take hundreds of years of complex human migration, socio-economic factors, and athletic development, blend it together with hyper-masculine fantasy nonsense, and serve it up as biological fact. And Forrest Galante's contribution to all this? Nodding along politely, because pushing back on Joe's favourite theories is a quick way to ensure you don't get booked for a return visit. Forrest plays along with the delusion. Keeping the host's ego intact is apparently just part of the job. And here's the thing. This is the same guy who, on another episode entirely, used the phrase toxically male, like it was a badge of honour. Which tracks, honestly, because this whole segment is just Joe admiring rugby players like prize livestock and calling it science. Eventually, the conversation turns back to wildlife. They have to frame basic marine ecology like a trailer for an 80s Michael Bay action film. Joe starts describing a video clip of an orca striking an ocean sunfish, dramatically hyping it up, claiming the fish exploded into dust. Then Forrest, the supposed wildlife conservationist and professional television biologist, jumps in with his high-level scientific perspective.
Oh, dude, I saw the guy that filmed this. This is so crazy.
Orca headbutts a sunfish so hard it explodes.
Boom. Turns into pieces. So this is a newly documented behavior. Just in the last maybe 6 months, they've found that orcas will literally explode fish from impact, whether it's a game or what, but they're finding that this is not the first time this is done. They're doing this. They're starting to just explode these fish on impact just because.
How are they doing that? Like, how fast are they going?
I do not know the answer to that, but it's impressive.
I would have never imagined that would actually be possible, right? Like, how fast can you?
I'm trying to, like, what does the starfish look? Is it like flat, like a stingray?
A sunfish? It's like a mola mola, those ocean sunfish with the big goofy fins.
They're pretty huge.
Okay.
Some
They
of
get
them are huge.
600 pounds. They get huge. It's
How
funny.
they literally turn to dust.
Dude, I think those are the orca equivalents of like a redneck that wants to hit a turtle on the road, and they're just like, we're bored, let's explode it.
Just brilliant, highbrow wildlife commentary from two grown men with massive platforms. You have one guy hyper-sensationalizing basic marine predation like a WWE wrestling event, and the outdoor TV host comparing apex marine predators to drunk drivers in rural Alabama. Strip out the actual science and add sensationalized violence and a punchline, and you've basically got modern nature media on the world's biggest podcast. In the final hour of the episode, the conversation takes its most deeply frustrating turn. Two wealthy, privileged individuals giving amateur psychological advice to millions of working class listeners who are struggling with real world problems. Forrest kicks off the mental health lecture with classic influencer pseudo wisdom. If you spend time alone in nature, the noise goes away. That is an amazingly convenient perspective coming from a guy whose entire career and income involved getting paid by major television networks to fly out to luxury outdoor locations and film himself exploring. But Forrest takes it a step further into full-blown victim blaming. He claims mental illness comes from when you're wrapped up in your own being. When you're in nature, you don't have time to sit and manifest on depression and anxiety.
Look, mental illness is a real thing. I'm not going to pretend it's not. But if you spend a lot of time outside and in nature, and especially by yourself, the noise goes away. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your history is, drug history, anything. When you're much more present when you're alone in nature.
Yeah.
And mental illness, I have no experience in this. This is just opinion. But mental illness comes from when you're wrapped up in your own being, right? When you're thinking about all the problems and this, that, and the other thing. But when you're alone in nature, you have to think about your surroundings and what you're doing. And you don't have time to sit and manifest on these things that create depression and anxiety and all of those types of things.
Yes. Clinical depression and chemical anxiety. Complex neurological conditions affecting millions of human beings worldwide. Cured entirely by being too busy outside to manifest them. It is the ultimate out-of-touch perspective from two men who are far removed from most people's financial stress. Struggling with severe clinical anxiety while working a double shift? According to Forrest Galante, just stop manifesting it and go stare at a pine tree. And since we're talking about out-of-touch wellness advice from guys who've never had to sit with real hardship, we can't let Rogan's own circle off the hook either. Take his longtime friend and fellow comedian, Bert Kreischer, whose signature bit for over a decade has been The Machine, a persona built entirely around blackout drinking, sold as merch, specials, and a feature film. Kreischer had a real blood clot scare that, by his own account, nearly ended him. And he said publicly that quitting drinking is probably what inadvertently saved his life. None of that has slowed down how the brand gets marketed. And nobody in Rogan's orbit seems eager to bring it up between segments on manifesting your way out of depression. To close out the podcast, Joe brings up a clip of Forrest driving in a makeshift cage surrounded by giant crocodiles. A classic TV stunt that plays cheap, sensationalized clickbait footage for television networks. That cage looks way too flimsy, Joe notes. And Forrest openly admits, yeah, we made it ourselves. Used a cable from a local village and just hoped it held up. It was done.
What is this? You and the crocodile thing?
Here it
Oh
is.
my God, dude! You didn't tell me they put meat all around the outside of it.
Told you I was an idiot. Look at this. We made that cage, by the way, and I am no engineer.
Oh my God,
Look
that
at this.
cave looks so flimsy.
It's so
That
much
thing
fun.
looks so flimsy, and you're just hanging by a thread.
Literally, like this cable that we sourced from a village and hoped it would hold up. I mean, we tested it as far as put some rocks in it and tested it in empty cage, but
Dude, this is a terrible idea.
it was dumb.
Reckless TV stunts disguised as science, boomer Facebook hoaxes presented as biological fact, hypocrisy on social media, and amateur mental health advice from 2 millionaires. All of it happened in one 3-hour sitting, and somehow the audience walks away dumber than when they tuned in. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments below which of their takes was the absolute most absurd. I'll see you in the next one.